Mother-in-law likes to shame my infertility. Am I overreacting? So backstory, my Mill and I got along until her son and I announced our engagement 8 years ago. For reference, my significant other, male 37, and I, female 38, have been together for 10 years total, married for 6. Then the passive-aggressive behavior began with a cringy response under a picture of her son and I on Valentine's Day. Mill, I love him too, doesn't that make you jealous? Lovely, I know. Anyway, with many backhanded compliments and muttered insults etc over the years, I chose to try and be the better person and ignore the bad behavior. So, 7 years ago my so and I started our fertility journey, and I had to have a couple surgeries. It was known what was happening with us. So over the course of the last 7 years, my Mill has made it a very obvious point to show me pictures of her friends or family's babies or baby showers within minutes of visiting with them. She would be blind to not see my demeanor and body language change. I've always said okay and physically walked away from her. She would always bring up how she would never be a grandma and how much she wanted it to my face in conversation. It bothers me immensely as we still don't have children, and I've had unsuccessful treatments and miscarriages. She also doesn't do this to my sister-in-law who has chosen to not have children, or to my so. It's always directed at me. Finally, after being in marriage counseling with my so for the last 2 years, he took it upon himself last month to confront his mother about this issue. Side note, Mill's behavior towards me over the last year has become increasingly mean and hurtful. She refused to speak directly to me when they visited Sil at Christmas, so didn't tell me that he did this until after this incident. He discussed with her how it was a sensitive topic and asked her to please stop bringing it up to me. My Mill doesn't communicate with me directly very often, maybe 2-3 times a year, if that, and never to ask how we are or anything. So, no friendly communication. She decided to text me late in the evening a few days ago that her nephew's fiancée was pregnant and was having a baby girl. And that was it. That was the complete text. I don't know her nephew and have only met him on a couple of occasions. So, my so was pissed but is still not convinced that she did it intentionally. He wants to speak with her and find out her thoughts, which I'm blown away by. She made it a point of texting me separately instead of the normal group text for family announcements. She also texted him after me to cover her tracks. Mill is a classic covered narcissist and is very passive aggressive. She plays the church lady so well but is the most selfish, non-empathetic person I've known. I could go into more detail about the things she says and the multiple examples of passive aggressive behavior for pages and pages. I think I'm fairly successful in life. I take care of myself, makeup artist, esthetician. I am a good cook and have a side business as a baker. I know there is some jealousy from my Mill on that end based on the shitty comments. We haven't been invited to dinner at their house in over 5 years because I'm a better cook than her. Having a baby is the one thing I am not able to do, which sucks. I guess I just don't know what to do if my so doesn't see these acts as intentional. Once I started breaking down her actions, he agreed that her bad behavior is definitely targeted toward me. He's have a hard time coming to terms that his mom is that purposefully mean. I finally set up boundaries. I've cut off contact for myself from my Mill, blocking her phone number and on social media. My so still intends to talk to her again about her behavior, but I don't believe this will do anything and only cause her behavior towards me to worsen. Any advice? Shared stories? Edit. I've told my so he can still have contact with his parents if he wants, and I'm fine with it, and that I'll attend family gatherings but no small visits for me. Also, I went above and beyond being kind and thoughtful to her for years. I'm a people pleaser, and you of course want your in-laws to like you. Thanks to therapy I'm able to realize that is an unhealthy coping skill from childhood. My mother-in-law says she wants to take the kids high. I'm new here. I hope I get some advice on how to handle this situation. Let me start by saying me and Amp, my husband, been married for 3 months now. We met 6 months after his late wife passed away. We met via an online dating website. He has been a widower for 3.5 years and has 2 kids, 11-year-old boy and an 8-year girl. We started dating, getting close, and learning more about each other's lives. I met his kids and his family. I gotta say I had a hard time of committing to someone who has lost a spouse, because of the emotional package that I'd need to deal with. But my husband is a wonderful man. He's always been supportive and respectful, and I'm grateful to him for the many things he has done for me, making me feel safe and helping me rebuild my self-esteem. His mother, my mother-in-law, has never accepted the fact that the kids now have a new mom. She's tried to tell me so many times that, just because my husband chose me as his wife, I don't get to play mom with her grandkids. She told me to not dare change anything in their habits, activities etc. and when and where they see their grandma. She started fully getting involved in the kids' lives after me and my husband got married. She'd show up unannounced to see the kids, take the kids to her house to spend the weekends there. She wouldn't respect my parenting nor the decisions I make in regards of changing schools, steps we take to ensure kids' safety, saying that she knows the kids better than me. Whenever I try to have a conversation with her, she'd respond with, "You're not their mom. Why do you care?" My husband tells me she's always been like that. Even with his late wife, I try so hard to not let her negativity affect me, but it's been taking a toll on me lately. She's already turned my 11-year stepson against me. He's now so hateful towards everyone around him, except for his grandma. I've been having a very difficult time dealing with temper tantrums, angry attitude, fighting with his sister, getting into physical fights in school, which is the reason why we constantly had to change schools. And not just the fighting. He shows no respect or compliance to anyone, not even his own dad. I've been told that I should not call him or treat him like he was my son because this would cause emotional conflicts. And it hurt me so much. I really wish I have a better relationship with him like the one I have with my stepdaughter. She's such a sweet soul. She's recently started calling me mama. I remember the first time she said it, my husband was in tears. It made me feel happy and loved. Yesterday, mother-in-law showed up to our house to see the kids. I tend to not get too involved. I just let my husband deal with her while I go into my room to finish my project or prepare a meal for us. But she showed up while my husband was at work, so I just let her spend a couple of hours with the kids and hope she wouldn't try to make a scene or start a fight. Anyways, my stepdaughter was playing outside with her bicycle. She was hungry and wanted a sandwich. She started saying, "Mom, I'm hungry." My mother-in-law heard her say mom. She got angry and tried to scold her for saying the word. She was grabbing her arm so tight, trying to punish her. She was hitting her. I came out of the kitchen and took my stepdaughter's arm out of her hand and asked her what she was thinking, trying to punish a little girl for not doing anything wrong. My mother-in-law started throwing a fit, told me that I'm not my stepdaughter's mom, told me I should stop with lying, manipulating the kids, and make them believe that they're mine. She even told me to have my own children to call me mom if I was so desperate. She finished by saying that she has the right to be called their mom, because she's been there all their lives, not just 3 years. I felt bad. I sat at the kitchen table and cried. What she said cut deep. She basically admitted that she'd try her best to make the kids hate me and treat me as a stranger and the evil woman who took their mom's place. I feel completely tired and confused. I told my husband what happened. He got angry at what his mom said, and he said he will not let her see the kids alone from now on. And when he called her to tell her about what he decided, she said that he can't do that because she's their grandma, called me a wicked witch, and threatened to go to court to get the kids. Things have absolutely gotten complicated in a short amount of time. She's starting to show her true colors, and is complaining that we cannot ban her or stop her from seeing the kids. But I've seen the effect she has on them, especially with my stepson. I know that having this woman constantly harassing me will always make my life like hell, and eventually destroy my relationship with my stepdaughter. Mill broke into our house. I live in the US, so things are pretty scary right now with the virus. My husband, child and myself have been taking every precaution, and only leave our house for necessities. We also wear masks every time we leave the house. My in-laws are another story. They don't take it seriously and take little to no precautions, and thus we have had little contact with them throughout the pandemic. Things are worse than ever now in our state, with skyrocketing cases, so back to window visits only. Last night, after we put our little one down, my husband hopped on to play games, and I headed upstairs to watch girly shows, and get some sleep since Lo has been an early riser these days. I settled in and was just about to fall asleep when our dog let out a panicked howl. I knew my husband wouldn't hear it with his gaming headset on, so I go down in my underwear and a t-shirt to check things out. It's almost always a neighbor who gets home from work late, and their car door spooks the dog for some reason. I get downstairs, and there is my Mill standing in my house. Her first words are, "I think we need to talk about your behavior." Explosion from me. Here is a brief summary of what I remember saying. What the BEP, why are you here? Why did you think it's okay to let yourself into our home without permission? You need to get out now. You need to get outside now or I'm going to call the police. She stammers a bit, flustered at my outburst, and then runs out crying. I get my husband and he is pissed. This is a hard boundary line crossed as both my husband and I are private people and this is known to them. We get outside with masks on to try and calm down and get to the bottom of it all. We have an emotional talk about how their choices have impacted their ability to see their grandchild, and it finally appears to have sunk in, even though we have explained this to them before. This was her first issue with our behavior of late. However, the behavior she's most upset about is that I recently RSVP'd noticed Sill's wedding shower. It's outside and only 20 people or so, but it's not a risk I'm willing to take right now. I bought an appropriate gift and was going to set up a socially distanced fire with some of Sill's favorite snacks, drinks and even some already purchased themed decorations to celebrate. I had not yet gotten the chance to tell Sill directly, as I had just messaged the bridal party group chat, which is minus the bride for planning purposes, earlier that day, and it was a crazy busy Monday. I intended on telling her and setting up a date today. Well, of course Mill had already shared this information with her. I also did not attend the bachelorette party earlier on. Sill seemed completely understanding of my fears and was okay with it when we spoke prior to the event. Well, according to Mill, Sill is heartbroken about me missing both events. If so, she gave no indication, and I'm not one to bribe people. You tell me we are good, smile sincerely, and I'm going to take it as truth. I'm no mind reader, and I hate when people expect you to know how they feel. Sill and I already set up a chat for later this week, as I truly love my Sill and fully support her marriage to her future husband, and want to clear the air and find out what her true feelings are. Whatever, continuing on with the current situation at hand. Mill and I kinda patch things up. Mill apologizes and then asks for an apology from me for threatening to call the police. No, I'm not sorry. You broke into our house. It seemed sincere but still seemed to lack the understanding of the severity of the offense since she then asked me for mine. She didn't push it after I ignored the comment completely and continued with the regular goodbye pleasantries, but I'm just so pissed. I feel so incredibly violated. Edit info. Mill claimed the door was unlocked and ajar. While it may have been unlocked, husband locks up before coming to bed since he has to take the dog out. It was definitely not ajar. The door swings all the way open if not latched, and I know it was closed when turning off downstairs lights before bed. It is possible though that it was locked and that she made a key behind our backs while house sitting. That is unclear. Mill's reasoning, while in the heat of the argument, for coming into the house was that she was afraid that we were going to take our son and run, cutting off all contact. My husband will be having a conversation tonight with his parents regarding what happened. He will also be providing them with covered information and guidelines from reputable sources to ensure they are fully educated on the situation and why we cannot see them right now. We love them and we will work through this, but it will definitely take time and harsher security measures and boundaries for now. Update: locks are changed. After being unable to get a hold of them Tuesday for a call with dear husband, I sent a well thought out message to Mill explaining the seriousness of what happened, along with my sincerest hope that she seek help. She still didn't understand why letting herself in was an issue because she is family, and that's how she was raised. She also told me not to mention anything to Sill. However, while I decided to respect those wishes, she proceeded to tell Sil her side of things, so I was later ambushed by Sil. The big thing they were mad about was that I threatened to call the police. Once ambushed by Sil via text, I refused any of them contact with myself and our son until there was a sincere apology that acknowledges the break-in and expresses that it will not happen again. Thursday, DH first called his sister to set things straight with her. She's insistent that I need to apologize for the cop thing, but otherwise said it's not her business. She was upset that I had not spoken with her first about not going to either party. I've been in a good handful of weddings, and I've always been told to first notify the mom or the planner of the event before approaching the bride, but now that I know that people can't just wait a friggin' second to allow me to speak with her first and she prefers direct contact, I'll do so. DH then calls his parents. I had to leave the room for this one to give Lo a bath and get him down for the night, but I did hear the occasional phrase and DH supporting me at every turn. After some time, he comes up to me and asks if it would be okay if Mill speaks to me to apologize. I said yes, and she did apologize and she is now understanding that it is a hard boundary for us, and is no longer wanting an apology for my response to call the cops. They now also understand that while things may be open, we will not allow anyone contact with us that isn't isolating, and only going out for essentials while strictly adhering to mask and distance guidelines. Thank you to all those who offered sound advice. Some of y'all do like to jump to the extreme though. It's still awkward with the whole family right now, but we will move forward. I feel safe again with the new lock, and trust is definitely going to take a long time to rebuild, if it ever does.